Hello and welcome to the Freedome Zone. I am on. Hello and welcome to the Freedom Zone. I'm your host Candace, where we set the truth free, whether you like it or not. I guess everybody caught the Nadler Circus yesterday because we already had the Shift Dog and Pony show, so now we have the Nadler Circus. I don't know. I guess the next thing supposedly is going to be the Pelosi Palooza. So it's been a real, I don't know what you want to call it, Mickey Mouse outfit, I guess, this week in the Congress. Our heroes of the day are Doug Collins and Jim Jordan. And probably everybody's wondering what in the blue heck is so important about this call with the Ukraine. Because basically, the Ukraine, it's not a NATO ally. It's not. It's not much of anything at all. It's probably one of the most corrupt countries, in the former USSR. So what's going on? What's so special? What's tearing up everybody's behind about this thing? Well, before we can understand why the Democrats are in such a hurry to impeach President Trump, other than the fact that they just hate him. I mean, it's a vitriol. It's a mental illness. It's like the Three Stooges in Niagara Falls. So slowly we turn. They know he's an outsider. They know he's here to mess up their gravy train, and that's part of it. But it's almost a deep seated hatred. Anyway, even before we knew about the conversation with Ukraine's newly elected President Zelensky, who is kind of like Trump in a lot of ways because he's a comedic actor. He has never been involved with politics or even run for office prior to being elected president, which is kind of like, I don't know, like Ben Stiller runs for president and gets it. Do we have a picture of Zelensky there to show everybody? Because it's hard with these Russian names to get everybody's face and their name together because they're all either Alinsky or, Porkova or Poroshenko. It's got a specific ethnic name. Anyway, he won because, like Trump, he promised to clean up the bureaucratic swamp in Ukraine. And if you think we have a swamp, oh no, 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 no. We have like a mud puddle compared to what they've had. And I mean, it's the last 100 years of swamp, and we came a little bit later than that. Zelensky is the first real non-communist president in the Ukraine in almost 100 years. Now think on that and bite on it. The key thing that seemingly is never mentioned in the media concerning Ukraine is that since the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the same communist leaders continued to run the country. Really, really, we thought, we tore down the wall, everybody ran away, and we got a bunch of new people. Wrong. And since the communistic bureaucracy controlled the media, the election, the courts, things really, I wouldn't say they had changed much. And what people may not know is that basically the same old leaders sat down with all the goodies that all the countries had, and they divided them up amongst themselves. Like the most viable government-owned industries were sold to each other. It's like, it's like the mafia. It's the same kind of situation. It stays in the family. The corruption and looting of the country's resources, and Ukraine is very full of good resources. They've got natural gas, they've got oil, they've got people there that work really hard. So there's a lot of great resources there in the Ukraine. So Ukraine is more important than you might think, because really when you think of Russia, Ukraine's probably the last thing you would probably get on your mind. But the bureaucracy continued. The leadership just was no longer calling themselves communists. The previous president, who was the corrupt president, or one of the corrupt presidents, Poroshenko, He was running the Ukraine from 2014 to 19. Do we have a picture of President Poroshenko? There we go. And he's the one that Vice President Biden demanded that he fire his attorney general in order to get his $1.8 billion. And President Biden, of course, bragged about it on CFR video, and he said he had to have him fired within 6 hours, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, they did fire him. He got his money. Now, Burisma is the Ukrainian gas company that Hunter Biden was paid millions, even though he has no expertise in gas or anything like that in the Ukraine. Doesn't speak Ukrainian. But this prosecutor was fired because he was investigating people. And I don't think he was any more pristine than the next guy. But I think he got a little bit perturbed with something that they did. So he decided he would start some investigations leading to Biden's threat. What Biden doesn't seem to understand is sound bites last forever, right? Poroshenko was really, really a bad actor, and at the time it then invaded Ukraine. President Obama did not help them. He sent them blankets and MREs, which are meals ready to eat. So the argument that they that we've withheld vital aid that kept them safe through Trump is, of course, a correct assumption, but it is the wrong president that did it. So the newly elected President Zelensky, is all for he's for joining NATO and everything and the EU, and he has reintroduced criminal liability legislation for illegal enrichment by politicians. Well, let's see how that goes. And he, like President Trump, wants to find out where that $1.8 billion went. Where did it go? Did people get it? No, I don't think so. So that's what we're talking about this morning as we go on. But we're wondering where that $1.8 billion went, and it certainly didn't go to the people. The reason that President Trump was talking to Zelensky was to congratulate him and to welcome him as the new president, but also to find out where corruption is and to stop it, because that's his job. It's his job to stop corruption. We can't just give money to corrupt people, and that's something that we can't do. So President Trump sort of knows that 1.8 billion went for nefarious reasons. And what might those reasons be? Well, our key bad actors or corrupt players, Obama and Clinton, they're really worried that Trump knows that part of that money went to pay for to hire American Democratic Party political and media consultants, including Greg Craig, which is a pretty interesting name, who's a White House attorney. Do we have a picture of Greg Craig? Okay, and then he's all of these people that they sent to Ukraine to dig up dirt. It's very connected to Obama and Clinton and the Democratic Party. Another one that they sent was Mark Penn, Hillary's chief strategist, who we also should have a picture of. And we're waiting on that. But anyway, that's one of Hillary's people. You see where the kingpins are coming in here with the Democratic Party and the Obamas and the Clintons. We also have the famous brothers, John and Tony Podesta, who are Bill Clinton's chief of staff and Oprah's quote consultant. And I know we've got a picture of those guys. There we are. They're probably as into the swamp and corruption and Soros and everything as anybody else could be in the situation. And then we have Tad Devine, who is Bernie Sanders' chief advisor. I don't know about that name, Tad Devine. If we have a picture of Tad Devine, sounds a little bit like stripper's name, doesn't it? It's just a Tad Devine, but he's working with Bernie, so he's not too divine. There he is there. It doesn't really look like a stripper, but you never know. Anyway, we have also this young lady named Alexandra Chalupa, who's the Ukrainian immigrant to the USA, who did opposition research on Trump for Hillary and the DNC and was hired to dig up dirt on Paul Manafort. Paul Manafort, as you know, did some work for Trump as far as with the campaign about 49 days, but he also had done a lot of work in the Ukraine for his own business purposes. Unfortunately, he probably would have never had the troubles that he has now if he hadn't worked those 49 days with President Trump. So, these are the players. These are the bad actors. These are the people that are over in Ukraine digging up dirt, getting probably allegedly or probably getting money that was meant for something else. And this is where we're going to go from there. I mean, you got to see that the people that want to impeach President Trump do not want this mound of excrement uncovered and revealed to the light for everybody. When we come back for the next section, we'll talk a little bit more about it and see why it's really important and what's going on with the whole entire thing, which smells really badly of fish. Anyway, we'll be back in just a minute. Join us on the next half of the Freedom Zone. I'm your host, Candace, and I'll be waiting for you right here.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
I'm Jeff Riblett, President of Asset Protection Group. As a certified financial planner and with 20 years experience, I've helped thousands of families and business owners create a tremendous amount of wealth. Fortunately, most of that wealth has been protected. Don't allow an unforeseen life event, such as a nursing home stay or the next market meltdown, destroy your family's wealth. Be smart. Call me. Let's determine how best to protect your assets and preserve your wealth.
Chevy in Jasper makes the holidays bright, and during the 2019 model year end clearance sale, the savings are huge, like over $11,000 off 2019 Silverado crew cabs, or more than $6,500 off 2019 Chevy Colorados. 'Tis the season of giving, and we're giving you thousands off every Chevy during the 2019 model year end clearance at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys always cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
and welcome back to the second part of the Freedom Zone with your host, Candace. I'm here to talk about what we were talking about before. Like I said, it's a real hot spot about Ukraine, and the reason that it's a hot spot is that it's been corrupt for a long time. So naturally, I guess, like draws like. So the corrupt people of the DNC and Hillary and Obama went over there and were digging around looking for something on Trump. I mean, I don't see how they could find it there, but there must have been something there, or they had very creative imaginations to make it up. So we were talking about all the people who went over there to dig up opposition research, i.e. dirt on Trump. And one of them you probably know, he's a player that we're not crazy about, and that is John Brennan, former CIA director for Obama. I'll get us a picture of John Brennan there. And yeah, there we go. What you might not know is that he went over to Ukraine in 2016 on a fake passport, which if I did that and got caught, I would go to jail. But anyway, he's a CIA guy. I guess they do that all the time. And he was going to collect some opposition research on Trump. As you know, Brennan has come out kind of squealy about, well, I just did what I was told. Obama told me to do this and that. Clapper's another one that did it, that worked with him. But, what happens is all the little rats jump off the ship before it sinks. And it looks like because Trump has a team of like A.G. Barr and John Durham looking up dirt on these very people that I mentioned before, that they're running scared. That's why they're starting to squeal. And I think they touched on it yesterday. The reason that they want to do this, number one, is they don't want Trump to be able to prove that $1.8 billion, which is my money, your money, is not his money, it's not Obama's money. We lent it to, we gave some, we made some loans to Ukraine for it, and it's not anybody's to spend, frankly. And I agree with President Trump as a president that feels like if Ukraine needs to be protected, they need to join NATO and the EU, and that other countries need to pay their fair share of taxes, which on NATO, which I agree with. We know there's no reason for us. We've been paying the bill ever since the end of the war. Supposedly they were going to send us 2% of their gross national product, but they haven't done that until Trump came up and started holding out his hand and saying, payment due. What happened is the American Democratic Party leadership was using that $1.8 million of U.S. tax dollars to pay Democratic Party political and media consultants to help keep corrupt communist Ukrainian leaders in power and create a false narrative on Trump to help Hillary get to be president. It's pretty bad when you've got all the cards stacked for you and you still lose. But the Democratic Party, the mainstream media, and the deep state federal, quote, jobs for life bureaucrats are trying to remove from office a duly elected president. And that's just not one man. That's the 63 million people that voted for him, people like you and me, and they're trying to negate our vote, which if we don't have the vote, we might as well say we're sunk because it's over. There's just no way that there's anything left because, where the vote can be corrupted and everything. And it was actually on Obama's watch, and he was the one that should have been held accountable for any Russian interference, but he wasn't. They're holding Trump accountable, saying he colluded, blah, 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 which he didn't. And certainly in this phone call, if you read the transcript, if you have any reading comprehension, you're going to understand he asked about the Mueller investigation in the Ukraine. And he didn't ask for any kind of favors against Joe Biden. He asked about the corruption for getting the prosecutor fired, but that was prior to him taking office. And we've got creepy Uncle Joe saying, hey, I told them to do it, and SOB, they did it, So, it's not like it's something we didn't know about, but that they're using our money to go in and dig up campaign dirt, which I don't appreciate that. People donate money to them. They can get pay their own way, or if they've got to. President Trump is going to, he's going to find out what's going on. Barr and Durham are going to find out what's going on. We've got the IG report coming out on the 9th, which is in about 4 days, which I don't hold out a whole lot of I don't hold out a lot of hope on that, because I also the Inspector General is also one of these, jobs for life bureaucrats, and where he's already made his report, and Attorney General Barr is already starting to disagree with it. So I think it's going to be like milk toast. Let's talk about somebody we like, who's President Trump. Let's get us a picture of our illustrious leader right there, up there, and we'll talk about him. He was at NATO, the summit this week, and we had a lot of petty little mean girls like Justin Trudeau and other people who haven't paid their share to NATO talking about him. And so he just decided not to have the press conference with them, and I don't blame them a bit. He didn't ask for this abuse. His son was maligned yesterday just because of his first name. This is unreal. This has never happened before. No one has ever disrespected the president or his family like this particular president. And I have to say, thank you, sir, because I don't know that I could do it. I mean, I'd like to say I'd be brave, but I tell you what, if somebody attacked my child the way his was attacked yesterday, I don't care what kind of public official I might be, I'd find that woman and I'd pull her hair straight out of her head, because you don't mess with the babies. I mean, if he'd said something about Obama's two young little whatevers, his daughters, it certainly would have been all over the news. It would have been an outrage, and the person that said it would have been nothing but a dirty SOB. So, this has really gone too far. It's a circus. It's a kangaroo court. It's completely out of line. And there's nothing about it. There's no evidence at all. In fact, one of their 4 experts, pretty much took him to task because he said it is abuse of power, but it's your abuse of power, meaning the Democrats, which made me laugh a lot, especially when he said even his golden doodle was mad, and those kind of dogs never get mad. So this is an outrage to the American citizen. This is an outrage to me and you. And all they're trying to do is get to the 63 million of us. Well, that's kind of hard to do, so they're going to pick on our president. We voted him in. We'll vote him in again. He's trying to do the work of the people and bring our government back. The deep state doesn't run our country, but they think they do. They think that they know best, and that they want to do it the way, as a lot of places you might go work. So we've always done it this way. That doesn't mean it's a good way. It just means that we've always done it this way. And Nadler and Schiff and Pelosi, they're like the triumvirate of evil. And I don't understand how they think that this is going to be helpful to them. And basically, yesterday's opening showed that they had to do it before the election, because they're pretty sure they're going to tank. I think they're going to tank. I think everybody, if you ran down the street and asked 12 people, they'd say, yeah, they're going to tank. Say, first of all, they don't have anybody. Second of all, anything. They don't have any kind of agenda. They don't have anything to say, hey, we need to fix this, we need to fix that. And I want to keep reiterating, and I can't say this enough, they haven't done anything for 3 years. How would you do your job? How do you think your job performance would be rated if you hadn't done anything for 3 years? No infrastructure, no immigration, no USMCA, nothing. They've done nothing except go after this one president. And you have to ask yourself, if everybody's going after him, he must be right. He must be doing something right. Anyway, that was a little bit of an idea about Ukraine, because I personally myself am wondering what the heck's Ukraine got to do with a lot of things, but it's kind of a seated, excuse me, hotbed of deep state. I guess it's like the example for us all. Anyway, this is Candace, and next week we'll be talking a little bit more about this, and we hope you'll join us.